So let's continue our journey with the data sources that we were discussing. So SQL Server on premises we discussed. Now is the time to understand the cloud Azure SQL Server database. So almost the look and feel and the way you connect to the data source, I mean not much of the difference, but still we will have a quick look at it. So for Azure we need to again have Azure credentials. And how do we connect? I mean, almost you will be seeing that it is similar, but still I'm just showcasing it to you. So this was on-premise. So what is the difference between these two? So the on-premise data source, for on-premise data source, you need to have this data source on the same server where you have SQL, right? And Power BI can connect only in that service environment or server environment. Whereas if you talk from the perspective of Azure, what happens is that it can be connected from any other services, any other places, any other location also. So what we'll try is now, first of all, we are in a different environment. So what we will do is we will try to connect this from another Power BI service, let's say. And we go to get data, and this time we go to more, and we go to Azure, and we go to Azure SQL database, and we say open. So now this is asking for again same kind of, so you can see that the look and feel is absolutely same. The only difference is that for a regular SQL server you give the on-premises server name and database name. Here what you need to do is, this will be a Windows.NET server, right? So suppose we have some server name. So it will be .database, something like this, and database.windows.net. So database.windows.net is the name of the server, and then preceded by your Azure SQL server name, right? So we have given that. And the database, so that is optional anyways, but let's say we are giving is DB server, right? So this is our server name, and we go to import, and then we say OK. So you can see immediately it showcases all the databases, schemas that we have on cloud. So this is my cloud data. So if I suppose just I wanted to go to this example, let's say building. So you can see building. So this is now getting connected to Azure, and then it will be showcasing all these data over here. So let's try this and see. So you can see the details are coming up over here. So building ID, landowner, and some data you can see over here. If you go down, there are, I mean, so many examples that we have, so many details, so many server data and all these things. You will see there are many of these things, right? So because it's having higher capacity, so we have kept many databases inside, many schemas within one database. So what I would like to showcase it to you is, see, I'm connecting. So this, when you connect it to Azure, the only benefit that you get is that it is server agnostic. So it is like, it's not required that I have to be on this remote server to connect. So suppose I showed you from this server, this is my remote server. Now what I do is, I will connect to the same data source from outside. So from my local computer. So what I'll do is, so right now we are here, and I just open up Power BI desktop. So here I cannot connect to my on-premises SQL database, right? But I will be able to connect to the Azure. So let's try. So I'm just opening a fresh file, and now I am on my local machine. So not on remote. So I say more, Azure database, connect. And I'm connecting from a different source. So now same thing. First time definitely it will ask for credentials. I'm skipping that part, right? dot database dot windows dot net, and like this, and then we say OK. So you will see that the same database server is available to me over here as well. So if I just go to same building, so whatever I am seeing it over there, I am seeing it over here as well. So I can see that the same data. So which means that, so I mean, you should be just having the accessibility of that particular server. Then only you will be able to see it directly. But this accessibility is there over here. So that's why it is able to. You need to give access permission and whitelist that particular computer. Only then you will be able to see it from outside. Otherwise, you are able to open it, right? So there is a security that is in place over here. The permission is not given, as you can see it over here. The permission is not given. That's why. Otherwise, I am able to connect to this particular data source. This permission is given in my remote computer, and that's why I am able to open this particular file or this particular database over here. So this is the second type of data source, which is the Azure data source. So we saw a direct SQL server on premises. Now this on premises data, I cannot connect it in my local place, right? Here I am seeing what is the challenges that I might be facing. Okay, so let's move towards the third type of data. So we have seen on-premise, SQL, Azure. So we have tested both the things. Now what we will do is we will be actually working on another type of data, which is as an analysis services data. So kind of a cube. So we'll see that. So what we will do is, so this time we are opening. So we are testing different types of data, right? Sources of data. So I go to, so I don't have to search everything. What I can do is, suppose I want to show Google Analytics. So Google Analytics, and we say connect. And I already have my servers over here. So now I will show you how it looks like on the server. So suppose I have some server I have, and it comes. So this icon that you see over here, this is the analysis services cube kind of thing, you can say. So this is the cube. So we say that, okay, I want to go inside this data. So now we are inside this particular data. This is a newly commissioned website portal, and we have associated the codes which are required to track the traffic from the website. Now earlier, if you have to do any kind of digital marketing and then understanding the penetration of your marketing campaigns, so you need so many things, and Google Analytics was a very big project actually. Nowadays, it is not the case. So let's have a look at this. All my portal data can be seen directly from here. So suppose if I just wanted to see my users. So how many users are coming to my portal, and you can see the sessions. If you just go to sessions, you will see there is something like this. We have data. There is like, we can see that some of them have a small icon, which is kind of a column icon, and some of them have something like this, a different type of icon. So let's take an example. I wanted to see how many hits so I have on my website or something like this. So I have 12,206 hits. This is a fact, right? So this is a fact. Similarly, suppose if I just wanted to see these many hits, and what is the average duration, or how many sessions, let's say. So I can check all these things from here. Every details are possible. Now what I do is I wanted to have the perspective of a cube. So now we have the fact, and now I wanted to add the dimensions. Look at this, how the dimension works. So I wanted to see out of this hits or out of this users. So I wanted to see the number of users also. So I now have the number of users. So 192 users have actually visited, and they have given me 12,000 hits on this. It's likely, as I told you, just like we have just launched it, right, in last week, and you can see what is happening over here. Now what I can do is I wanted to bifurcate this with different perspectives. So suppose the first type I wanted to see is like, okay, are these new customers or repeat customers? So what I can do, I can simply say new and return visitors. So new visitors, and then we have the return visitors. So now what you are doing is you are splitting this particular data. So splitting this data. Then you wanted to see that, okay, what time, or let's say from which place these people are looking into my data, or let's say which platform. So let's say which browser they are using. So I can now see which browser they are using, Chrome, Opera, and all these stuff. So now you can see the same number. So most of them, the return visitors, they are visiting us on Chrome. So you can see it over here, right? So if I don't want it to see it from the browser perspective, I wanted to see which device they are looking into. So I can see most of them are looking into from the desktop, right? Most of them. Which operating system, that also you can see. Device model, all these things you can track over here. So if you say Geo network, so you can see. So you now know that a single number using the concepts of you can say dimensions. So you can just split it up and then see it from different perspectives. This is what this analytical services or the cube concept gives you. This is, I mean, if you open up any cube for that matter, so SSAS, remember we talked about SSAS. So SSAS is something like this. So it is a different environment, if it's a different application, but the look and feel will be similar. You can just drag and drop and then look into the measures and dimensions and all these things from data perspective, right? So these are the three different types. So first of all, we saw on-premises, then we saw Azure, and then we saw a cube kind of a data. Now what we will do is, we have got other data sources also. So the ones that we used in Excel, we will see how they can be utilized or they can be seen over here. So we go back to our slides, and we have seen that how to look into this data from a query editor perspective and simple kind of transformation. So now what we will do is, we will quickly have an activity wherein we will be connecting to different types of data sources and from GitHub. So the ones that we tried and tested in Excel, we are now going to see from the Power BI desktop perspective. So let's go to, so first of all, we can open here GitHub. So the same GitHub data sources. So remember this data sources that we had, I mean, we were discussing it in the last sections, wherein we talked about the ISS location and I mean, talking about different features like airport delays and all these things we saw, and how data can be taken from different perspectives. So now what we will do is, we will try to connect it with some other types of data here as well. So let's say we have got, so first of all, we will try the same concept over here also. So suppose we have this options called, I mean, meteorite landings. So this is meteorite landings data over, I mean, maybe from the year 1880 we have all these data points we have, right? So we have data till 1905 and whatever number of years are there. So now let's say I copy this data, and we know that we can actually go to the web also directly, and we have the online services, other services, we have web that we tried in Excel also. We can take that data, connect it. So first time when you are connecting, so you are connecting actually data.nasa.gov, so NASA's government data you are connecting to, and you are connecting as an anonymous because this is an open account actually for data source. So now you can see that immediately it gave me the data, and it has got 14 columns. So directly from the GitHub it went to JSON, and from JSON we are now able to see the columns directly. So the data is so clean and clear. So we are able to see all the coordinates and the meteorite landing details and all these examples. I mean the name of this meteorites, and then we can see found and fell and all these things we can see over here, and some IDs that they have mentioned, and the mass. So you can see the mass, and then the most important thing is the year. So year is also here, and there are some other things also, latitude and longitude where this meteorites actually landed. So now when this data is with us, what we can do is we can say NASA data for meteorites, right? So meteorites landing data or something. You just press enter. So here we are not talking about, so you can see that it gives me the date and the time. Right, so here I'm not talking about the time. So what we will do is I might just want to go to home and then convert it into a date, because so you can say replace the column. Oops, sorry. So there was an issue. So you can see over here. So you have the year and the time, and then you can see that it is giving me some errors, some empty data points are there. That's why I'm not able to convert it into a date or date time or something like this. If I just try to convert it into date time, it works, but I will not be able to, I mean, further convert it. So this is one type of so now how do we mitigate those challenges? So what we are going to do is we can see that there are some null values which is creating this problem. So I can actually click on this option called remove empty, and then you can see that it is now having complete data. So now I may want to convert this into date, and it works. So here you can see that all the dates are in just I mean, we all only have the year part. We don't have the date and the month and part like this. So, I mean, I can just remove the other sections and just keep the year part from this. So I can just go to date, and further what we can do is with the data type over here. So when you go to this date, so the formats are available actually. So I mean there are options through which we can just take it into a different format and not directly into into let's say the I just wanted to have the year and all these things. So what we can do is we can just go to this split column, and I can just say delimiter split, and I say OK, and you can see that it automatically converted into 3 sections, the year and the month and the date. So we don't want this day and the month because all of them are 111. So all of them are 111. So what I can do is I can right click and then say remove the columns. And now what has happened is you can see over here. So it has got this year and all these functionalities over here. Now, usually when we do all these changes, so suppose what has happened, it comes with the source. It first came with the source. We converted the table, converted it into a table, then we expanded this column, and then we changed the type, and then we filtered some of the rows, changed the type again, split the column, and then change the type, and then remove some of the unnecessarily columns that we have got. And then what we can do, we can say close and load. So the NASA meteorite data is over here. So this is one kind of data sources, and you can see that okay, most of them are just showing column 1. We will see in subsequent exercises how to mitigate that as well. Now this is one type of data. So there are multiple other types of data also from GitHub, what you can download and then you can utilize. So this is one type of data. Another type of data is if you just go here and in your browser, if you just search for let's say IBM attrition data. So you have IBM attrition data, and you can see that it is under GitHub's IBM repository, and you can see IBM's attrition data is right here. So you might be thinking that okay, how come we have attrition data of IBM given like this? So now if you notice over here, the names and the codes are not there. So it is, if without the names and the code, this is like in anonymous data, right? And this data was last saved in the January month of 2019. You can see the history over here, and you can see all the contributor details, who has submitted. So I told you that GitHub is actually that kind of place where you can details and data from here, and there are people in this world who actually gives it back. There are both type of people who are working along with these sources actually. Okay, so this is the data. So what we usually do is, we do not have any download option, so we can just we can just copy this entire data, and I will show you how it looks like. So we have got the data for you. So if I just go to general, and you will see that we have this data called attrition GitHub data, and it looks something like this. So that data, what you saw over here, can now be copied, and then you can get it inside Power BI. So what we will do is, now we will read this particular file which is over here into Power BI. So what we will do, we will just go to get data, and you can see by default it is available over here as CSV. And what we will do is, we will look forward to the data source, and then we will say open. So automatically you will see that it has identified the data, and it is now asking us to load or transform the data. So we go, because we see that there are some challenges, we transform this data. We again go back to the query editor part, and we have the data like this. Now what we need to do is, we straight away go to delimiter, and this is anyway a comma separated value, and immediately we get this data. So all the data that was there in GitHub is now in my Power BI file. And now what we need to do is we see that the first line is a header, but it has not captured. So what we can do is we can just go to this option called use my first row as headers. And you can see that it has captured my first row as headers. So first of all, in the same Power BI file, I'm getting NASA's data and from the GitHub, and I'm getting attrition data from IBM also into the same data source or the same file. We can save this file. We apply this definitely. And then what we will do is we go to worked file and we save it as module 3 and we say data sources. And now we have, so we can now say close and apply, and it will give you both the data sources. So now we have attrition data and NASA's data. This was so in nutshell what we studied and what we understood from this particular module is that we can get data from different sources and connect to Power BI. And what happens is, like, we need to be very careful from which data sources we are getting data from, connecting data from. So those all things. And also what we need to take care of over here is that the data could be on premises and data could be your cloud sources also. So both these places we can have data. Now each phase, I mean, whether it is from cloud or whether it is from on premises, you need to be just vigilant about, I mean, some factors like the authentication factors, the tables that you are connecting to, the database name that you are giving. So these all things we need to be careful about. And also what we need to do is we need to see that if it is connecting to Azure SQL database, so in that case the permissions should be there. If the permissions are not there, then you will not be able to connect for a particular report or a particular table or a view or structure kind of things, right? So that was all from module number 3. So that's it from module number 3. So in module number 4, we will take a deeper look into this mining and cleansing activities. So we will see how to prepare the data. So we have just connected to the data sources over here. So we will see how to advance this and how to have the preparation done in terms of cleansing. This is like just the beginning of the data preparation part, what we have seen in module 3. In module 4, we will do an extensive study of data preparation and starting from the scratch, taking the data and working with all the other factors as well. So that's it from module number 3. So we'll see you on module number 4. Thank you.